Wish we were going in that direction. As the weather where we are going, that doesn't look quite as nice, does it? Never mind, I'm sure we'll be fine. A quick break from NZ scenery converting. I thought I'd have another flight for a bit of fun. So yeah, what I'm doing with the NZ stuff is, well, there are parts of scenery making which I think are fun and enjoyable, and there are parts which are quite honestly a bit dull and boring. And what I'm doing right now with this first round of scenery conversions, of just swapping forest resources and deleting things from libraries that I don't want to use, that's not one of the more interesting parts at all. Feels more like work rather than a fun hobby right now, but just keep telling myself that it's something I only have to do once, and then I can get back to the more enjoyable bits of my hobby as a scenery maker afterwards. Although the end is in sight now, I've just done all of the tree swaps and deleting for all of my airports. That's over 200 of them. But that was just with WED, so I've now got to go back and check them all in the sim to make sure it's okay with my forest only sim heaven setup, and also the full sim heaven setup as well. I'll be honest, that will be a loose kind of check, so people who do use the full sim heaven overlay, you might find a few doubled up buildings, but it should be near enough for now. Yeah, hopefully over the weekend I'll get all that done and upload it to Mega. Then I'll have a couple of weeks off, which will actually be playtime for me, trying to explore what I can and can't do with X-Plane 12 and the X-Plane 12 compatible version of WED that we now have. It's only a beta version of WED, but it's good enough to check a few things out and see what we can do. And once I'm getting to grips with all that, I'll start round 2 of the upgrades and make all the airports look nice again. Some don't really need much work, especially the more recent things I've uploaded, but there are others which have some major issues, so they will require a lot more tweaking and changing. But that's fine, because that final making things look nice part, that's the bit of the job that I do enjoy doing, so yeah, I'll be happy enough with that. Although just over 200 to upgrade, I'll probably make a few new ones as well as time goes by, as that's always fun. So yeah, it's probably going to be about a year before I'm finished with everything. I'm happy with all of the airfields that we have in New Zealand. Then again, if it's like my run in X-Plane 11, I'll learn new things as I go along, so by the time I finish the last one, I'll have some new techniques to use by then, and I'll want to go back to the first one and redo that again. So yeah, I think my original guess at XP11 being the New Zealand scenery making sim, and then 12 being the scenery upgrading sim, is probably a reasonable description of how it will go. As for X-Plane 13 in a few years, I'll probably just retire and let somebody else go through all this next time. Anyway, enough rambling, because our express deliveries paperwork says for your next delivery you need to go to Canyon Creek. The winner is a chef who works there creating new recipes, and I'm sure he'll be very happy to receive his prize, so you might get lucky and he'll give you something to eat while you're there. Or maybe ask if he can make you a fresh cheese sandwich, just in case you need to go back close to the border again anytime soon. Yeah, with this one, there's a definite technique to getting a Baron in here. As usual, it's not as hard if you fly a bush plane, but in this thing which South Fiordland was designed for, yeah, this isn't one of the easier ones. It's not far down the runway. The terrain is very uneven and it's really easy to smash a prop into the ground and kill the engine. So you need to get down nice and early and start losing speed, so you're going slower by the time you get to the bumpy bit, and then it doesn't have quite as catastrophic an effect on you. Although the approach to get to the threshold isn't that easy either, and I tried to purposely come in at what looks like much too low of a flight path. So I'm not sure if it's me or a genuine optical illusion with the mountain slopes, but if I try to approach in what looks like a normal altitude, then it usually turns out to be too high and you land straight in the middle of the bumpy bit, exactly where you don't want to be at those higher speeds. Yeah, so there is a corridor in the trees that lets you come in low, which is hopefully still there since this conversion, and we'll be fine, even though it won't look like we're doing fine for most of this approach. And you probably won't see the runway until very, very late, but that's okay because I'm flying and I do know where it is and how to get to it. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, this white mark, which I'm assuming is like a little waterfall in real life, it's basically just try and fly at the top of that, and then the corridor in the trees should let us turn left and be perfectly at the end of the runway. And here it is. Don't think we've hit any trees, have we? So that's all good. There's the bump. Yeah, kicked the front wheel back into the air quite nicely there, didn't it? I think you can imagine if you run into that at a higher speed, that's not going to be a good day, is it? In fact, when I first built this airport, just put a basic runway in here, I crashed that many planes just testing it out. It very nearly got scrapped entirely. Then finally discovered the technique of how to land here, and so it did make it into the final South Fiordland. Yeah, so welcome to a Canyon Creek, and has that building shrunk? Hold on, let's just have a look. Yes, it has, hasn't it? That door from the helipad is now a door to absolutely nowhere. Yeah, that white building used to be taller, so the door fitted onto the side of it. Yeah, never mind, that can be cured. As I've said before, I did the conversion, but these are my first ever flights into all of these airfields since I did that conversion, so kind of like beta testing for me as I go along. Yeah, we can cure that. Anyway, you three, do you know a chef? He's won some underpants.